Hi, my name is Phillip Kulubya, and I've always been interested in underground music and finding up-and-coming artists to listen to. So one day I thought to myself, why don't I check out the artists at AU and in the DC area? So this week, I'd like to introduce you to Prometheus. You might also know him as Shane Gardner.
Gardner. I make music. I'm a high technology major. I also go by the name Prometheus, and yeah, I'm the interview.
When did you start making music?
So I started making music around, let's see, 6th, 7th grade, because I had a very heavy EDM phase when I was in middle school, and I always wanted to replicate those type of beats and whatever. And then when I started out, I started on GarageBand and simple things like that. Me and my friends would just send beats just for fun to each other, and I was like, wait, I actually kind of enjoy doing this. So when I started, it was originally EDM type stuff, and then I started looking at how people actually made it, and then I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute, this is actually really complicated. I don't know if I can do all this. And during that period of time, I honestly thought I was just gonna stop making music and leave it at that. But then I started getting into rap music, and I started getting rap beats. I was like, wait, this is actually kind of my niche. This is where I can sort of fit in. And ever since then, I've kind of just been making beats as it is. Started around 8th grade, and then really started getting into it the summer of my freshman year effectively, and then just kind of kept going from there. That's basically how I started.
How do you connect with other artists for features and collaborations, starting out and even up to this day?
Honestly, it's a really weird and kind of not risky game you have to play, but it's a very strange way it works out, because you have, where I'm from, the DMV, you have a lot of local up-and-coming rappers, especially in high school league, where you just have to find friends that know connections and certain things. And it's just from my example, I owe it to my two friends who go to UMW, my boys Daryl and Nathan. They go by Shinobi and Quadro on Spotify. You can go check them out. They I met them youth group around sophomore year, and because of them I was able to find mutual friends and whatnot, and that were already making music, and they just kind of set me up with different people, and then I just met different people on my own because of them, and that's just kind of how it went on. And then that's basically how started out with it. And then how I do features and collaborations now, it's really just the role you have to play in social media, especially if one of your friends who's a rapper has a certain artist that you want to work with, for example, you just set them up with them, or you just DM them on Instagram or something like that. Now again, the reason why I say it's a risky game sometimes, because you, especially as a producer, rappers basically feel they're catering to you effectively, or sorry, you're catering to them effectively. So it's just because of that, it makes it kind of hard when they're just trying to find beat after beat after beat, because they're just trying to sit there trying to pick perfect one, even though if they're picky or whatever, that makes the process even harder, because a lot of rappers kind of want the same sort of trend of what's going on. So if you make your own beats as as something for you, you have to find rappers that cater to you as a producer, which is even harder to siphon out. And that's how that's kind of what I've been struggling with, to be honest. But it's just when you do find rappers, I've definitely had success stories from that. I still work with people like that. When you do have success stories and you feel you can help mold the rappers you're with into the music you want to make, it just comes up with such a better product.
Okay. Who are your biggest influences?
Ooh, music-wise, my biggest influences have got to be Denzel Curry, number one, my favorite rapper of all time. Then for producers influence, definitely folks like Kanye, folks like Kenny Beats, folks Jake One, other classic producers. And then you have folks like The Alchemist too. They're also a range of classic producers and modern day producers. Also Eastbound, the producer out of I think it's North Canada or something. He works for Travis Scott. He actually also made the beat behind Antidote, if you heard this song before. and like those are basically like some like my biggest influences for like the type of beats I want to make and the type of like music I want to make.
How do you record music? Do you write or do you punch in?
Okay, so for me, like I recently started rapping around from now around 2 years ago, because like I originally like started like just as a producer. I mean, I still am like at heart, like that's my number one, but like I started rapping originally when I had this one song out it's called 20 Racks. It's still on Spotify, and like I was trying to hunt down like some like my rapper friends to like finish up the feature or whatever, and then we only had just like the one like open section, and then no one else like was gonna finish it. So I just sat down with myself. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it myself, why not? So I hopped into like nearby, we had a maker's lab near like our house, and I also had a studio. I just hopped in there, just started rapping, and like yeah, that was that. And ever since then I kind of felt like confident in like writing my like own lyrics, and then basically like just like rapping and just like speaking them out effectively. Like I feel like for me writing lyrics comes kind of easy because I feel like there are certain like flows that I like appreciate in the rap game that already exist, and I feel like I can just take different parts and then like sort of make it my own. So that's kind of like where the creative flow sort of comes from. And it's just like I feel like my type of lyric writing only is good for like rap. Like I couldn't like sit here and tell you like, oh, I could like write a song or anything. No, I couldn't like do any of that, because like it's one of those things where it's just a different sort of alleyway from like rap to actually like making like a song, for example, because you have to get like a cadence, like a flow and everything with what's called like a musical sort of flow and everything with like a song, whereas it's like you just have to deal with like flow and like a rhythm and like on like a rap beat effectively. I feel like you have to deal with like less than you have to do with like a song, for example.
How do you feel about like small artists paying for features from bigger ones? Would you ever do it? Like, do you think it's better to just like create organic relationships as opposed to like paying for opens and things like that?
See, yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked this question, because like this is kind of like where I feel like it really depends on the situation, but like I would always more lean towards the organic like sort of thing, especially like what's it called, like our producers. I said like you're like the rappers are assuming they can cater to you, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like you might like hook up like the best beat of your life, send it to like a rapper, they pay you like money or whatever, but like once it's in their hands, it's up to you whether it's up to them whether or not they could credit you or not, which really kind of sucks, because like I know like one of my friends who goes here, he got a placement from this upcoming rapper named Summers, right? But he never got credit for the beat like whatsoever, even though he made like a ton of money off of it. But it's just like because it like what's it called? Like he never put like produced by like in the tag, you know what I'm saying? So like in the like the name of the song, he just like never got like any credit for it whatsoever. So it's just like because of that, like paying for like what's it called, like, especially like beats and like features and like opens and effectively like it doesn't like last a relationship for them. Like I feel like it's just to a means to an end, if that makes sense. Like you made like this song with them and that's it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that one. This is one of those type of things. I feel like it doesn't lead to like actual relationships, like whatever. If you want to like make a song with them in the future, or you want to like collaborate with their different artists or whatever, it won't necessarily allow you to do that unless your song like blows the competition out of the water. And like not only that, but it's just like it also impressed the community of the artist like you're working with, like his community, especially ones that know him, people that like actually like have like connections with him because they've been working with them and whatnot. Like unless your like song is just gonna like completely blow that out of the water. That's why I'm just saying like opens and like features won't necessarily like, it's like one of those games I feel like you have to constantly like literally you have to just like pay to win, or just like it's almost like a gamble, if that makes sense.
Right. And like you brought something up like really concerning, because like with like some of these guys aren't even famous. Like They have like some buzz, but they're like people are just willing to pay for opens, placements, and like they just never send them.
Not only that, but it's just like it also depends on like how many connections and how much money you have to start with. Like there are like rappers who literally like, because they look like, and that's another thing, like social media like really like influences how what rappers look like versus their actual like statistics and how many people listen to them. But like that sort of thing with like social media, for example, like they'll just like boost and like look like they have hella clout and everything, but it's just like when you get to like the like you get to like the skin and bones of it, it's like when you have rappers who have like connections already, it's like, oh, like my dad was a studio manager, so I have the studio like right on file, and he also gave me like a ton of money. It's like other people working with that don't necessarily see that, and as a result, like that's where that sort of like what's it called notion comes from, because they have the money, they have like the resources already on hand, whereas other like rappers and like producers don't necessarily have that because they weren't like born with those connections, or they just didn't have those connections on file. It's really just, when it comes down to it, it's more like an image game, which I was kind of hinting at before.
Just like among you and like just the people you're around, like is like the thought of like blowing up and like kind of like riding on trends like ever temptation, or you're just like doing your own thing? Does it ever come up just like
like I have to ride like a trend until I blow up type thing?
Yeah.
What you're asking?
Is it ever tempting to just try and like as opposed to like making music like the way you want, like?
Oh no, it's definitely tempting. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's like, oh, like I've never been a nah. It's definitely been tempting for sure. But it's just one of those things where it's like you look on, like going back to the whole social media. It's like you look on social media and then like you find like the rappers or producers who are like basically riding on those trends like with them rappers, and then the trend goes like flat like that, and you like notice like they have like one or two like big songs that like will get a certain amount of notoriety or clout, and then it's just straight down from there. And it's just like, okay, like when you're dealing with certain things like that, it's like you sit back and you look at it all, it's just like, it's really kind of like, not thinking about it, it's really kind of depressing if you like what's it called, like when you realize those musicians, like you go like through each of the trends and you're just trying to like find one that you like sort of cater to, and you don't know how long that particular trend is gonna last. And I feel like I've kind of learned, I don't think I feel like I've learned that the hard way, but I've definitely like, it's like when I've like looked at that before and I felt like I needed to do that, like it definitely like sent me into like a place of thought where I'm just like, okay, this is like, if I keep like riding these trends and effort, like I'm not gonna like actually thrive. I'm not gonna be proud of like my own product, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I'm not gonna like look at my own like sort of songs and then like be like impressed with them. It goes back for me like being like my harshest critic effectively. Like that's really what it comes down to.
Like, how do you promote your music? Because like online you see like spam in the comment sections, or you see like people paying for like people paying for reposts.
Yeah, exactly. So like basically one of the things for like I started like that like earlier, what's it called, like in like I guess like when I first started making music and whatever, definitely. But it's just like that gets at you kind of like already handle it. It gets so tiresome after a while, and then you're just sitting there. It's like, okay, what exactly am I doing? So it's just like definitely like what's it called, like sending it like what's it called to your friends so they can like send it to others, like sending it to friends you know that are gonna like get your music out there for sure. That's where you have to really figure out like where your like real friends are gonna like that's where I usually like start at like a certain place to start with, and then like you know, just like send it to like other like friends who you know like are like rapping or whatever, so they can get them exposed to their communities. And then also TikTok is so underrated when it comes to like promoting songs, especially like if you have a friend who's like on TikTok and like they promote what's it called, like their song in one of their like videos or whatever, like they actually use them to like a decent like quality, like if it's like a meme or whatever, like you'd be surprised how quickly like it'll start to get like notoriety if you like do it correctly, or not do it correctly, but like if the TikTok or whatever like in question, like if it like gets like a certain like amount of hype and clout behind it.
Like, what are your like goals?
Just in general?
Yeah, just like
honestly, like for music wise, definitely, especially like in the next like sort of 2 years ago, like right now I feel like since I'm in college and like it's like a lot easier to like expand my craft because you have like so many opportunities now. I feel like that's number one where I want to like start with. And then like I also want to like, I've always wanted to like form like a collective, to be honest. I've also wanted to like form that, but it's just like it's rare that you get like enough like rappers to do that actually like what's it called, have a certain amount of like the style that I'm looking for. And I also want to like what's it called, work with like like slightly bigger, like up and coming rappers, like I slowly just kind of want to work up the ladder, so I can like start to do connections or whatever. And then like I think that's what like for at least like the next like 2 years, and then like we'll honestly just like see what happens from there, because like another thing is just like that's basically why like I'm here in America. It's just like I feel like I'll get like an upper like sort of advantage because I've already been like educated in this like sort of general like business and production like music at this point, that a lot of like local rappers like they're just like sitting around like like messing around with the computer and just like playing like this social media game, but actually don't like know much about how the physical like industry like works. So I feel like if that sort of happens, then like yeah, that's kind of like how I feel about it.